In Syria, I have no doubt that the Assad regime will soon discover that the forces of change cannot be reversed and that human dignity cannot be denied.
Chances are we won't hear the same prediction in Tuesday night's State of the Union. That's because despite the administration's position that Bashar al-Assad must go, Syria's dictator appears to be staying put, at least for the foreseeable future. Syria's civil war, which has killed at least 200,000 people in the past 4 years, has pit the Assad regime against various rebel groups seeking his overthrow. Assad's forces have been accused of mass murder, torture, and chemical gas attacks against citizens. A lot has changed in the past year. The U.S. has gone from threatening airstrikes against Assad.
Even a limited strike will send a message to Assad that no other nation can deliver.
To working with him. The U.S. agreed to remove the threat of military action in exchange for Assad handing over his chemical weapons. It's not like he needed them. His forces have continued making gains, while the U.S. focus has shifted to taking out his biggest enemy, ISIS. The dilemma for the White House is helping to push out Assad without a good alternative might only make things worse. There's no telling who among Syria's extremists would gain power, which might be why we're seeing a shift in U.S. policy. Last week, Secretary of State John Kerry voiced support for 2 new proposals, neither of which called for Assad's removal. The first, from the United Nations, would suspend fighting on the ground and allow in aid deliveries, beginning first in the city of Aleppo. The other proposal comes from Assad's ally, Russia. It calls for talks between the government and the opposition to be held in Moscow later this month. In all likelihood, those talks will meet the same fate as last year's failed peace negotiations in Geneva. Already, several key opposition groups have said they won't be attending. For Newsy, I'm Elizabeth Hagedorn. Multiple sources, a broader view.